One of the things that had intrigued mankind, those who had reached, or the message of Islam had reached, and throughout the annals of history, is that people asked the Nabi, and in particular our Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when is Qiyamah? When will Qiyamah take place? In fact, in the narration it comes that Jibreel had come in the form of a human, and he presented himself before Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he asked the question, Mata Sa'ah, when will Qiyamah take place? And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the one asking the question and the one who is responding to the question, both equally do not know when Qiyamah will take place. So there's no human, there's no angel that knew or will know as to when exactly Qiyamah will take place. But from the ahadith and from the verses of the Noble Quran, we are informed of certain events that will occur before Qiyamah. And this is termed as Ashratu Sa'ah, the signs of Qiyamah. Amongst the signs, there are the minor signs and the major signs. The minor signs are things like there will be no barakat in time. A man will keep his friends close and he will have his father at a distance. He will listen to his wife and he will disobey his mother. There will be immorality. Music will be played in the masjid. These are things that accumulatively are taking place. And then there are the major signs that will occur, and this has been outlined in some of the ahadith. From the signs of Qiyamah, there are those which have already occurred. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Ana wasaka hatain, myself, my coming into this world and Qiyamah is like this. So there are those that have already occurred, those that are unfolding before us, and those that will occur towards the end of time, that will lead us to the actual events of Qiyamah. So there are 10 major signs. The first is the appearance of the Mahdi. So towards the end of time, in Madinatul Munawwarah, there will be a dispute as to who the next leader must be. Some narration says that there will be someone who had passed away and his 3 sons will fight. Or it will be 3 leaders and they will now dispute as to who should take over and who should take control of the treasures of the Kaaba. Literally, there are treasures under the Kaaba, and figuratively, that is our center point. While this fight is taking place, a young man by the name of Muhammad bin Abdullah, from the progeny of the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, from the progeny of Sayyidina Hassan radiallahu anhu, he will leave Madinatul Munawwarah and he will proceed to Makkatul Mukarramah. And he will then enter the Baytullah and he will make tawaf. And when he reaches the point between the Rukn Yaman and the Hajr Aswad, people will come around him and they will pledge their allegiance to him and take him as the Khalifa. Who is this man? This is the Mahdi, who will be from the progeny of the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. In a hadith it comes that if this world had to be prolonged for the last day, Qiyamah will not come until the Mahdi has appeared. And the Mahdi is one who Allah will prepare him in one evening to be the Mahdi. Meaning that when he leaves Madinatul Munawwarah, at that point he will not know he is the Mahdi. It's only at the point when the people will start pledging their allegiance to him that he will come to know that he is the Mahdi. So it shows that he has no ambition to be the Mahdi. He will not be vying for leadership or that he wants to be the leader. Rather, he would have been chosen to be the leader and he would be prepared in that moment for the leadership. There are many who have called that I'm the Mahdi. There's one clip that circulated that the person says, I'm the Mahdi, I want to announce. So the scholar who's there says, okay, the Mahdi can speak Arabic. So can you speak Arabic? So he starts reading, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. So the scholar tells him that is not enough. That the Mahdi would not be the one claiming to be the Mahdi, but rather he would be the chosen one. And he would be at the age of 40 when they pledged allegiance to him. He would then establish justice, an army will march from Syria to challenge him. And when they reach a point of Bayda, they will be swallowed into the earth. While the Mahdi is now on earth, the second sign unfolds, the appearance of Dajjal. Dajjal is the Antichrist. The word Dajjal means Dajjal, trickery, lies. Dajjal will say, I am Allah. That is his call. And what he will go around, he will enter every city on the earth except Makkatul Mukarramah, Madinatul Munawwara, Masjidul Aqsa itself, and the masjid at Mount Tur. Those are the 4 places he cannot enter. He will go around and say to people that I give life, I give death. He will emerge from Khurasan, that is present day Iran. And he will have an army of 70,000 Jews, Turks, and Iranians with him. It raises question marks of, the geopolitics of what we see in the world at this time, knowing that there will be Jews and there will be others who will emerge from Iran with the Dajjal. He is a short person with a pigeon-toed person. That is how they describe him in the hadith. And his calves will be separated, ruddy complexion. And he will start marching from one place to the other. Those who are impressed with him will form part of his army. Music will be his call, the attraction of it. He will tell people that he gives life and give death. He will come to a Bedouin and say to him that, believe in me. And the Bedouin say, I will not believe in you. He will say, I will resurrect your parents from the grave. If I do that, will you believe in me? And the Bedouin says, yes, I will then. And he will then bring to life this person's parents. It's not really his parents. It is shayateen in the form of the parents. And the father will speak and say, my son, this is your God, believe in him. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Undirukum ad-Dajjal, Undirukum ad-Dajjal. I'm warning you about Dajjal, and know that your Lord is not one-eyed, because Dajjal is one-eyed. He has only one eye, and the other eye, there's a protruding piece of flesh. And the Muslim will be able to see that on his forehead, there will be written, Kafara, Kafir, that he is a disbeliever. He will then march against Mahdi. Mahdi will take his army from Madinatul Munawwara, Makkatul Mukarramah, towards Masjid al-Aqsa. And we see, what a central role Masjid al-Aqsa plays in the events that will unfold towards the end of time. So Mahdi will then proceed to Masjid al-Aqsa, and Dajjal's army will march onto Masjid al-Aqsa, and they will be just outside Masjid al-Aqsa. And one morning, the Mahdi will go forth to perform the Fajr Salah in Masjid al-Aqsa, and the Iqamah is given. And while the Iqamah is given, Nabi Isa alayhi salatu salam will come down on the eastern minaret, leaning on the shoulders of 2 angels, wearing a saffron color kurta or jubba. And he will come into the masjid, and when the Mahdi will see him, the Mahdi will say, you go forth and perform the salah. And Nabi Isa alayhi salam will say that, لَقَدْ أُقِيمَتْ لَكَ, the Iqamah was given for you, so therefore you should perform the salah. So Nabi Isa alayhi salam will then stand as a musalli, and the Mahdi will perform the salah. This would be roughly 6 or 7 years into the Khilafah of the Mahdi. So he was 40, now he's roughly 47 years old, and Isa alayhi salam comes down. Isa alayhi salam, after the salah, the door of Masjid al-Aqsa goes open, and Dajjal and his army are standing outside. And when Dajjal sees Nabi Isa alayhi salam, he starts to melt, and he wants to flee. And Isa alayhi salam tells him that I still have a strike to hit you, to beat you with. So you cannot run. And he will start fleeing. And he will move towards one of the places which is in the land of Al-Sham, which is Babul Lut, which forms part of modern day Israel, the occupied lands. Isa alayhi salam will catch him over there and will kill him over there. And the Muslims will go after the Jews who are in the army of Dajjal to such an extent that it is mentioned in the hadith that a tree will tell the Muslim that behind me there's a Jew, come and kill him. Behind me there's a Jew, come and kill him. And that is how the army of Dajjal will be destroyed. And Isa alayhi salam will now be together with the Mahdi. 3 years later, the Mahdi will pass away. Isa alayhi salam will remain on the earth. And that is when Ya'juj and Ma'juj will then be released onto the earth. In Surah Kahf, it is mentioned that Zulqarnain, who was a great king of the past, he traveled to the east, he traveled to the west, then he traveled to the north. And when he came to the north, he came across a people who they complained that behind the mountain there was 2 nations, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, who were causing corruption on the earth. And this people asked Zulqarnain for assistance in protection against Ya'juj and Ma'juj. He then said to them that you provide the labor and I will assist you. They built a wall which was made of iron, steel and molten copper, which was a barrier between this people on this side and Ya'juj and Ma'juj. They remained behind that wall, continuously attempting to break the wall. And one day they will say, Insha'Allah, we will break the wall with the will of Allah. And eventually they will break the wall and they will descend onto the earth. Many people have tried to figure out where this is. And it doesn't mean that we feel like, everyone's traveling around the whole world, that we've explored every portion of the world. These are amongst the events that will unfold, and where they are, Allah alone knows best. The purpose why we discussed the signs of Qiyamah is number 1, it's a chapter of knowledge. Number 2, so we can prepare ourselves. And the third is, there are a lot of misconceptions and attempts by people to interpret it by saying Dajjal is not an entity, but it's all the evil that is coming, from time to time. That Ya'juj and Ma'juj have already come. So from time to time, you have people giving interpretations. And what I'm sharing with you very briefly is a concise, authentic view from the Quran and the Sunnah. So they will come down from where they are, and they will be in such large number that when they pass the Tigris or the Lake Tabariya, it is said when the first of them come and the last come, there would be so many in number that by the last come, they will say, once upon a time there was a lake here. The beginning ones would drink from the water. By the time the last ones come, the lake would have been dried up. That is how many there are in number. They will then spread corruption on earth to such an extent that Nabi Isa alayhi salatu wasalam and his followers, the Mahdi, will then have passed away in the 9th year after his Khilafah. And the reason why Isa alayhi salam allowed him to continue with the Salah was to show that Isa alayhi salam will come back as a follower of this ummah. And the reason why he had to come back, he was taken up in body form. And he is to return. Some ulama say because he heard of the virtue of this ummah and it was his wish that he be part of this ummah, that is why Allah had allowed him to come back. Another reason is that because he was taken up in his body form and death needs to overtake him in the physical form, that is why he needed to come back. And other reasons also, Allah knows best. But he will come back, he will live for a period of around 40 years, he will marry, he will have children. When Ya'juj and Ma'juj spread the corruption on the earth, Nabi Isa and his followers will retreat to Mount Tur. And while they're in Mount Tur, Nabi Isa will make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah destroys Ya'juj and Ma'juj. As a result of this, a sore will develop on their necks, which will cause their bodies to rot, and they will then all die. Because of the huge numbers, they will fill the whole earth with their corpse. And when Nabi Isa and his followers will come down from Mount Tur, there won't be any place on the earth. Nabi Isa will make dua once again to Allah, and Allah will send down a rain that will cleanse the earth of the Ya'juj and Ma'juj and their bodies. And then there will be peace and tranquility on the earth. Nabi Isa alayhi salam will live for approximately a period of 40 years. Then he will pass away a natural death, and some narrations indicate that he will be buried alongside Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Madinatul Munawwarah. Amongst the other signs that will take place, so that is 4: Mahdi, Dajjal, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Nabi Isa alayhi salam. The 5th one is there will be 3 instances of the earth swallowing people. So one will occur in the east, one in the west, and one in the north. And these will be on a large scale where people will be swallowed into the earth. So that is the 5th sign of Qiyamah. The 6th sign of Qiyamah is a beast will come out from Mount Safa. Some narrations suggest it is the camel that was at the time of Nabi Salih alayhi salam. Others says it's some sort of a hybrid animal that will be a combination of multiple animals that will have the staff of Musa alayhi salam with it. And the purpose of this beast is it will differentiate between the Muslims and the non-Muslims and will spread around the earth. So that is number 6, دابة الأرض. وإذا وقع القول عليهم أخرجنا لهم دابة من الأرض تكلمهم أن الناس كانوا بآياتنا لا يوقنون. And the beast will say that people do not have conviction in the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the 7th sign is dukhan, that there will be a smoke or a mist that will cover the earth, and as a result, all those who are living at that time will be separated into Muslim and non-Muslim, and it will kill off a large part of the population. The 8th sign that will occur is the rising of the sun from where it normally sets. And that is the rising of the sun from the west. It comes in many narrations that man has the opportunity to make tawbah. The doors of tawbah are wide open. And tawbah takes just a moment. You turn in your heart and you say, Ya Allah, forgive me, I made a mistake. I vow never to return to those sins. And tawbah is accepted. And the door remains open for tawbah. However, once your soul has reached the throat and the angel of death is removing it, the doors of tawbah are now closed. And when the sun rises from the west, that is when the doors of tawbah are closed, meaning that no deed will be accepted after that. That is the 8th sign. The 9th sign that will occur is that there will be an army that will march from Abyssinia, and there will be a man who's part of this army, Dhu Suwayqatain, a man with, as in the hadith it's described, a short stature with very thin shins, and he will go with his axe and his shovel, and he will break down the Kaaba literally. And he will remove the treasures that are contained under the Kaaba. And he will take it with him towards Abyssinia. So that is the 9th sign. And then the 10th sign that will occur, that is, there is a fire that will emerge from Aden in Yemen, and it will spread around the world, and it will then drive the people towards the plains of Hashr. Where will Qiyamah take place? When Maymuna, the freed slave of the Messenger ﷺ, asked that, O Nabi of Allah, Aftuna, give us the fatwa with regards to Masjid al-Aqsa. What is the ruling? And Nabi ﷺ said, Ardul Mahshari wal Manshar. It is the place of resurrection and the place where Qiyamah will take place. And Nabi ﷺ said to him, I'tuhu fasallu fihi. Go to it with the intention of performing salah there. Because whoever goes to Masjid al-Aqsa with the intention of performing salah, then he will get the reward of 500 salahs elsewhere. And this then freed slave said, O Nabi of Allah, what if we cannot undertake the journey? We don't have the money for it. Or there's the restriction. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, then give oil for the lamps of Masjid al-Aqsa. And what does it mean? Render whatever support you can. And when we look at the current events that are unfolding, the attacks or what had unfolded as the result of the 7th of October, it was titled as Tufanul Aqsa, the flood of Aqsa, meaning what Hamas had done in terms of the attacks on Israel, which is obviously after years of oppression and violation of their human rights and stealing of their land. But what has led to the present events has been, as at the core of it is the protection of Masjid al-Aqsa. So people will be driven towards Masjid al-Aqsa, to the land of resurrection, to such an extent that it comes in the narration that there will be 2 shepherds who will be the last to come, and as they passing Madinatul Munawwara, they will find that the entire city has been abandoned. There will be no one in the city. There will only be animals and predators, and they will be delaying, and as they are coming, lagging along, the trumpet will be blown, and mankind will be put to death, and then they will be brought to life for the start of Qiyamah. So these are the 10 major events that will unfold in the lead up to Qiyamah. And as we said, the reason why we discuss this is so we have the correct perspective and that we do not be caught unawares. The fitnas that will unfold towards Qiyamah as the minor signs, which are mentioned in the various ahadith, numerous ahadith that outline this, 30, 40 different signs. Music becoming very common, immorality, people will be dressed in particular, yet their bodies are visible. And all of this we see around us. And the reason is we need to be on our guard in this regard. What we need to do is, we need to read at least every Yawmul Jummah, the opening verses and the closing verses of Suratul Kahf. Ideally, we should be reading the entire surah, but if not, at least the opening and the closing verses. This will be a means of protection against the evils of Qiyamah and the evils of the end of time. Also to recite the dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min adhabi jahannam wa min adhabi al-qabr wa min fitnati al-mahya wal-mamat wa min fitnati masih al-dajjal. The fitna of Dajjal. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said there has never been a greater test than the test of Dajjal. And we need to ask ourselves, music is going to be the weapon of Dajjal. And how much affinity, what sort of attraction we get, or to what level of abhorrence and dislike do we have for it? And it should be an eye-opener to us to say that, will we fall in that trap because of that? We do not know. May Allah protect us all. May Allah make us from those who will be saved from the fitnas of Dajjal. May our dhikr be a means of strengthening our iman against the fitnas that will come towards the end of time.